I mean, that baby's coming.
It is. I haven't, yeah, she's absolutely huge.
Well, I mean, you're gorgeous, but every time we've booked in studio time, there is always the chance that you're going to call and be like, sorry.
Yeah, I thought it this morning. You know, just when you start to get a bit crampy.
Yeah.
I've started to get a bit crampy. And I've had a lot more scans this time, just
Right.
because little things they want to check. And all the way along, she's measuring normal. She's in the normal growth range. And every time I'm like, are you sure? Because my son was always on the 97th percentile
Right.
the whole way through, which is why he came early. And I mean, Jack's a big guy.
Yeah, big red.
Big red, man. So the whole time I've been like, is she really normal? Anyway, had a scan the other day, 97th percentile.
So do you reckon
Big
she'll
girl.
come early?
I've only got a couple of weeks left anyway, so
Do
don't
we
know.
think she's going to have red hair?
I hope so.
Oh, do you know, I keep thinking about you, obviously, because we're friends and I talk to you all the time, but I'm like, that feeling, the newborn snug.
I know.
Like, I know I bitch about my kids so much on this pod, but I hope I get across how much I love them.
Yeah, of
but
course.
that newborn phase before you hit the colic and the reflux, which I hope doesn't happen to you, when
It's
they're when
lovely.
they're so tiny.
I know.
And like, you're so tired, but you love it. And
I
you're
know.
just sniffing their little heads. And then when you pick them up out of the car seat,
I like
they do the
this.
little
Scrunch.
scrunch. Oh,
I can't wait to do the scrunch reel. I made a reel on my other account, and it was me like holding one of her snowsuits, and I'm like cuddling it,
Yeah,
and I
it's
want to
cute.
do another one next to it when she's in it.
Oh,
you know,
that
like the
would be
contrast.
so cute.
Yeah, what's all my news is baby related and just not being able to breathe and things.
Take a wild guess of what my news is.
Uh,
I don't sleep.
You don't sleep?
Do you know what? It had gotten so much better. And like all parenting, you have ups and downs. And we were going through a really nice phase. Like Elle's
You
just
were.
super cute and she's so funny and she's just like my little mini me, my shadow. I've actually got quite used to sharing the bed with her and I quite like it.
Yeah, nice.
I mean, listen,
Turned a
we'll
corner.
yeah, we turned a corner. But now we're coming into autumn, winter, and everyone's got coughs and colds. Sebby's decided he doesn't want to sleep anymore. I mean, I've so much makeup on today. You genuinely need like a concrete drill to get into my skin. And like Mark's at the end of he's at the end of the line.
Oh, is he? Is he at the end
at-
of his tether?
He is all the things that we talked about us being like, he's so passive aggressive.
Oh, no.
He's just looking at them like, I love you, but I don't like you. Because he's just exhausted, man.
Yeah,
He's just so
so
exhausted.
hard.
But otherwise, we're good.
Good.
So today.
I'm excited for today. We are deep diving with you and I because we talk about a lot of interesting topics
Yeah.
and themes. And obviously we've had some great guests on. But we just wanted to do an episode today which kind of looks at the pair of us in a little bit more detail.
For sure. Because I think even when we did this, right, we were like, we want to do this podcast. We're nobodies, like in the nicest possible way.
Yeah.
And you know, why should we have a seat at the table? But we believed in the subjects that we wanted to talk about. We believed in opening up areas that we personally think are not spoken about enough with parents. And we just wanted mums and parents to just feel like they're sitting having a cup of tea with a mate, right? But like, you know your mates, you know all about them.
Yeah,
So
of
I
course.
suppose it would be nice to just learn a little bit, for our listeners to learn a little bit more about us, and not just like, hi, my name's Nikki and I'm a 44-year-old Scorpio. Like a bit like, it's hard. Life can be hard for us too, right?
Yeah,
And
of
it can be
course.
beautiful. And we've had such a journey between the two of us. I mean, when I think about what I know about you, and like, we've only known each other a couple of years, if even. You have been a teacher, a PT, a life coach, a manifester. I mean, I've probably a business owner. I'm probably forgetting so much. And not because you can't decide what it is you want to do. They're all interconnected in some way.
Yeah.
But looking back on, you were a teacher for 14 years. I mean,
Yes.
what brought you into that world?
My mum was a teacher. Her whole career was as a primary school teacher for over 30 years. But it's always been something in me ever since being small that I've just wanted to help people. and I adore children. I adored children when I was a child. I remember being in Wales once in a caravan, like a little caravan holiday. And there was another caravan next to us with a family of little kids. And I ended up turning my little living room into like a school. And
Oh,
so I got them to bring
cute.
in books and things. I just know that my purpose, my whole reason for being here is to help people. And I've done so much work on finding that what's my purpose, why am I here? And it is to help. That's it. Help and heal people.
Yeah.
That's it.
And I think looking back at the other episodes, you really know that you care. The way you talk about teaching and behavior and what you do with your kids, you're not just going in to get a paycheck. You really come at it with empathy and with thought. And as a parent, I hope my kids get a teacher like you.
Oh, thank
Or
you.
are you sure you don't want to come back and
No.
no? Especially when I said mine are in the class, you're like, yeah, no thanks.
I think with the teaching, it is obviously it was my main job for the majority of my adult life. So I've never really given much anything else a chance, but it is one of the hardest jobs
Yeah,
ever.
yeah,
Teachers do not get paid enough. The only thing that kept me in the job for so flipping long was the children.
yeah.
So if it was all about them and if it was all about the interactions with them, and God, I miss those interactions with the
You
children. I
do?
really do.
Yeah.
That's what kept me there, and seeing the progress and knowing that I was helping. Yeah, that's
So what
just
made you, after 14 years, I know you made a lot of changes at one
I
time,
did, yeah.
and which, it would be great to go a bit deeper into because I know we've referenced it in the relationship podcast. But what was the turning point where you were like, I have to pivot into personal training, life coaching, manifestation? Like, tell me a bit about that.
So you are right. I changed an awful lot in one fell
Yeah.
swoop. An awful
Go
lot.
big or go home. Yeah,
Exactly.
I did the same.
And I'd been in the job for 14 years. I went through this huge change, separating from my son's dad, moving out, then really going inwards. And for me, it was the big change of stopping drinking alcohol and then starting something at the same time simultaneously that was going to really fuel me, which was exercise. And from all the things that I was doing for myself in order to grow and to heal, again, it was, I want to help other women do this. And I was coming from the angle of like, I'm going to be a single mom and I'm having to do all this, but I found so much strength and so much power from what I was doing for me. I just wanted to stand on any rooftop and scream it to any woman, like, come to me, like this will transform your life. And for me, it was getting the easiest way to kind of access strength that you don't know you have is to get physically strong.
Yeah.
So if for me, I thought, right, well, mentally, I need to get myself into a really strong place. So rather than starting mentally, I'm going to start with what I know I can control, which is my physical strength. So in going to the gym and getting strong and showing up for myself and being disciplined and being consistent, that then fed to my mental strength, which then kind of teased my way into kind of spiritual strength and understanding.
That's such incredible advice. I've never thought about it that way. That if you're feeling really overwhelmed mentally, and often in your mind, you're like, oh, I just don't have it in me to go to the gym, or I just can't take on any task.
Yeah.
That actually, if you almost take the mental part out and just do, all of a sudden you will get stronger and stronger, and it has a domino effect on everything
Yeah, starts
else.
feeding everything.
Yeah, that's
So
amazing.
then that's when I was I'd been training for about 2 years before I decided to become a personal trainer. So I qualified. I used to do that on my weekends, and then once I got that qualification, I just took the big jump, and focused on helping women.
Right. And was it this small seed that grew, or did you just have like an epiphany overnight that you were like, that's a dream? I've had a vision, because you are a very visual, spiritual person. And you just woke up one day and thought, right, that's what I have to do. Like, how?
I mean, from the visual of like being a seed and everything growing, that for me took a few years. So the idea, honestly, my TA at the time, Kate, I was like, you deserve a fucking medal, mate. Like, I'd come in and I'd be like, "Brr, da, 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 I'm going to do this. I'm going to open this. And don't get me wrong, they're still on the vision board. But she'd just go, yeah, great. I'm behind you. I'm with you. So it was a slow burner. But I think I've said before,
But I love that
just
about
spit
you.
everything about, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this.
Your ideas are just verbal diarrhea.
They are.
But with substance. Like
Yeah.
more of a hard poo. like, you're just like, ba, 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 ba,
Yeah.
ba, ba.
I'm so enthusiastic
Yeah,
about
I
what I
love
want
that.
to do that I want to tell everyone.
Yeah. Yeah. Whereas, you know me, I'm behind going, let's get the Excel sheet. Let's do our financial planning. And
Yes, which is so sensible. Whereas
No.
I'm like, I'm leaving my job. I'm a single mum and I'm going to leave.
Yeah, and I'm going to become a manifester. And
Yeah.
that's such like, I really respect, because obviously I've learned more about it from being friends with you. And I really respect it. And I think it's a gorgeous thing. But it is, and take this respectfully, it is a kind of a trendy, in inverted commas, word or actual way of life maybe, and it's quite current. So for somebody that is a complete novice, and for those that are like, oh, here they fucking go, manifestation,
Yeah.
why don't you just work hard?
Yeah.
Those nay
Yeah.
what do they call naysayers?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, got it right.
Ah.
Oh, tap tap. What would you say to them?
So I lead workshops with manifestation, and they are my most popular workshops that I do. And I like to start with that. So the definition, like, what is manifestation? And in order to explain it well, I like to take the angle of what manifestation is not. Which
Right.
is
Okay.
rather than what it is. So manifestation is not really, really wanting something. It's not praying super hard for something. It's not wishing you had something or wishing on a star for something. It is total embodiment of ownership of something before it is in your physical reality.
Okay.
So it is an alignment of energy. Now, any scientist out there could not argue that everything is energy.
Yeah.
And that includes what you think. Your thoughts are incredibly powerful. And energy and manifestation is purely a conscious manipulation of energy to bring things into your reality. So I often give this example. Imagine you won the lottery. Okay, it's just an easy example. So you've matched all your numbers, yeah? Buzzing your tits off. You ring Camelot.
So eloquently put. Buzzing your
Tits off, right? So you ring Camelot and you go, I just need to check that these are my numbers, need to double check. You double check. Yes, Nicky, I can confirm you are the winner of £200 million. Right, so say this is a Monday.
See ya.
Yeah? So the funds are going to be in your account, Nicky, on Friday. That mindset, that feeling on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, you aren't a millionaire yet. That is not in your bank account, but you're fucking spending it. You're having a look at what you're going to do, where you're going to put it, where you're going to invest. That's the mindset that you need to get in for anything that you want in life.
Right.
That then becomes an energy that you put out. Because if you put out a wish or a prayer or whatever, the energy that you are sending out to the universe is that of lack. I do not have these things. Please, 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 can I have it? Money. Most people like to, want manifest abundance in their life.
Yeah.
They're going to go, please, can I have it? I'm praying to God for it. Well, that just shows lack. So you're going to get less. You're just going to get a mirror.
Well, that's kind of where I struggle a bit with manifestation, right? Is because there are so many people talking about it and it is quite trendy and there's the visualization boards and all that. And I understand the power of it. You're putting down everything like a to-do list. I live my life by a to-do list. If I can see it in front of me, I know what needs to get done, tick, 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 right? Now I know it's not quite the same. Where I struggle is once you put it down there, you're imagining, you're visualizing it all, like the way we think about when we win the lotto, we dream about what we spend the money on. How do you move from dreaming to doing? Because I feel like, especially in this world, and I don't want to bash Gen Zs now, but there is a lot of chat around that some people are quite entitled and they just think shit's gonna happen and I dreamed it and I visualized it and I manifested it, so it's just gonna fucking fall in my lap. So that's the bit that I struggle with, and I'm a bit black and white.
So that is something that a lot of people will get wrong. So I have created the phrase, or this again, a visual when I do this with my workshops, And I call it the triangulation of manifestation, right? So you've got a triangle, if you imagine. At the top, you've got what you think about must mirror exactly what you speak,
Okay.
which must marry what you
Do.
do,
Oh, I love
which
that.
at the center is a circle, which must then embodiment. You cannot think that you can think something and make a vision board and it's going to come to fruition. All three corners have to marry up. And a lot of the time with manifestation, because people think it's all like magic and things, again, it's not magic, it's energy. And if you're thinking something, making yourself a vision board, embodying, but you're not taking appropriate action towards it, you're not going to get it. People think that it's just going to, like you've just said, land in your lap. You have to do as well. It's not just like oh, I want this and it's going to come. But those three corners have to be absolutely mirrored.
Yeah.
And
No
that's what
wonder your
people get wrong.
workshops are always sold out.
Oh,
Keep
thank
me a
you.
ticket for the next one, girl. Because I love that, because you're giving a practical exercise, and the way you describe that, in my mind, it's like mind mapping, which I used to do a huge amount of in the corporate world.
Mm-hmm.
And when you're mapping out a plan, and you have to understand like what it is, what's your strategy, who are you, what's your brand, and then you have to work out how you're going to get there, and then you need to work out what the impact is
Yeah.
and what the value is to yourself and other people, blah blah. You have to keep doing that to yourself individually. You
Yes.
have to keep being accountable to what you say, what you empower, what you embody, and what you do. And then that keeps you accountable to yourself.
Correct.
So do you almost, like in these workshops, say to people that they have that up on a mirror to keep reminding themselves, or maybe take a picture on their phone?
Yeah.
Or
Yeah, they
Okay.
can do. And another thing is, when we're all born, and I think this is why I'm like even more excited about having my baby, because I'm so in this is my world now.
Yeah.
It wasn't when I had Lenny. So we're all born with like this kind of blueprint about things. You'll have feelings about things that are going to come up in your life because they're already going to happen. So there's so much about my life that I have always known will come.
Mm.
But when we get into adulthood, we get all in our heads about things, and people try and like, come on, be realistic. That is the worst fucking advice you can tell me. Do not tell me to be realistic. That is, I will just switch my ears off. There's
Yeah.
no amount of being realistic. I can manipulate energy. I can get what the fuck I want.
Yeah.
And I have. And there's it's kind of like switching off your mind and tapping into what you already know. Like when I was married in my house and stuff, this is just a little example, but I always used to think like, I get in really good shape. And I used to say this to Lenny's dad. I don't know why I have this feeling. This is when I didn't train at all. Wasn't really interested.
Right.
I was like, I get in really good shape and I get covered in tattoos. And he was like, when are you going to do any of that? And I'm like,
Oh,
I
yeah.
don't know.
I'd like to meet her.
Yeah. Show me that version. And then sure enough, I mean, this is just a small example. All of those things happen.
And now he wants to get back together.
No. But the first thing, so I started before I consciously manifested and looked into manifestation, a number of things were happening in kind of a manifestation sense before I could give it that word. So I hadn't read any books. I hadn't followed someone who was teaching me about it.
Oh, so this was something that you found yourself. You weren't jumping on a trend.
I always say I was called to do it. I was pulled to this way of existing.
Yeah.
Before I knew that that's what I was doing. It became my life before someone told me that's what that was. And I was like, oh, shit. So I'll just give a very quick example because I love this example. Like I say, we're separated from my son's dad and we were selling our house. Now he was all right. Well, he was looking at apartments and things to buy. And I'd lived in an apartment a few years prior to us buying that house and I loved it. It just had a really nice feel about it.
Right.
And I knew when I left that I somehow managed to go back there. It was just a feeling that I don't ignore or question.
Right.
And I really wanted me and Lenny to end up back there.
That actual apartment.
Not the apartment,
Just
a different apartment, but
right.
that block.
Okay,
I
right.
just loved the vibe.
Right.
I always get feelings about places. And I said to Lenny's dad at the time, like, I'm going back to Park Road, like that's where me and Lenny are living. She said, there's none available. You've already inquired. I'd already rang up the woman.
Right,
She
right.
said, oh, everyone's tenancies aren't up for another fucking 2 years, whatever.
Right.
And I thought, no, I live there. Now, everything about me lived in that flat. Everything.
Right.
I knew, like, dimension-wise, I was buying furniture. I was buying pictures for my hallway. I was not entertaining looking at another house or anything. He was like, you need to sort it out. We're going to be out of here in a matter of weeks and you haven't even got anywhere to live. I was like, listen, you do you and I'll do me because I end up living there. It's already mine.
And was he just like, you're
He's like,
fucking mad?
Mental. Mentalist.
Thank God.
Oh
Thank God we're separated.
You lunatic. Right? So I was just sending emails to this woman, you know, taking action, sending emails to this woman like, please just let me know if anyone gives you any indication that they want to leave, whatever. So I'm pottering around the kitchen. Phone starts ringing. It's Carol.
Oh, I love Carol. You talked about Carol. Carol!
Yeah, Carol. She ended up being a bit of a knob, to be honest. But
Oh, sorry, Carol.
yeah, she ended up being a bit of a knob. But anyway, so my phone started ringing. And I went, oh, God, would you look at that? I went, it's Carol. So I answered the phone. I was like, hi, Carol. And she went, Michelle, you'll never guess. I go on. There's a family from India and a relative has died and they need to leave imminently. The apartment's yours if you want it. Now, the thing with manifestation is I'd already embodied living in that flat. So it wasn't like, woohoo! I fucking told ya. It's already mine. So I'm not like that. And that's another thing.
So you were like, yeah, Carol, I was expecting the call.
Yeah, I'm like,
Thanks.
okay, I already knew. It was just a case of you ringing me to tell me when I could get the keys. Like,
Yeah.
That's how set and sure. That's the mindset. That's the kind of like the energy you need to be encompassing in order to attract what it is that you want.
And like, I don't mean to sound cynical when I ask you this, but the reality is that doesn't always happen in life, right? You can work really, really hard and not get what you want or fail. And that's okay. That's a normal part of life. So as part of the manifestation mindset, how do you set yourself up for that? Like
nothing that I've wanted in life that I've manifested have I not received. Nothing.
Just maybe in a different form. Because I'm just worried of anyone listening that you get your hopes up and maybe that's the point. Maybe I need to work a bit more on manifestation. That's an energy thing. Yeah. Okay, right.
So if you're struggling, reach out because I can coach you in manifestation because I've manifested where I lived. I've manifested my partner. I've manifested my baby. I've manifested every big thing in life that I have wanted and that I have consciously manifested, I have received. There is nothing that you cannot bring into your reality. And the element of doubt stops you from receiving.
Yeah.
So if you need help, guys.
Yeah. Well, to be fair, you do sell out your workshops. And like, even for the more cynical people like me, if you don't even want to see it as manifestation, see it as even just setting clear expectations and boundaries on what you want in life. So some might say, baby boyfriend, oh, well, yeah, there are things that just happen. No, the level of happiness you have in each of those things is reflective of what you have manifested or what you have set yourself to expect in life. So even if it's not manifesting it, it's just like manifestation is in a way just setting the absolute goals of what you deserve in life and then getting it.
You have to know what you want. If you're going to use manifestation, you need to know. You need to ask the universe. If the universe doesn't know what you fucking want, you're not going to get it, are you? So you need to be crystal clear what it is that you want. I remember going on one of my first dates with Jack, and he went, "It's so mad. It's like it's like it's not even in control." And I was like, "Because you're not." With my cauldron at home. I was like, "Yeah,
I manifested
really
you here."
weird.
So like when you do the workshops, like a lot of people, I mean, even with us with the pod, like people are like, what do you mean you're doing a pod? You've never done a podcast. Yeah. And we're turning podcast.
And here we are.
And here we are. Thank you for manifesting that, by the way,
That's okay.
for the Apple charts. How did you teach yourself to do the workshops? Was it your teaching background?
Yeah.
Did you read books? Do you sit and go, I'm literally going to just put down on paper or in my presentations my journey? Like, how do you go about it?
Teaching is such a transferable, has so many skills
Yeah.
that I've realised are incredibly transferable. That doesn't mean that me teaching a workshop to a room of 50 women wasn't something that I had to push myself to do,
Yeah.
because it's nerve-wracking getting up in front of. It's different when they're kids. Kids
Yeah.
don't give a shit. Kids don't
They don't judge you.
judge. They don't have it. They're just waiting for you to speak. But when I'm there and people have paid to come and learn, like, that's a nerve-wracking thing that I've had to force myself through and do a little bit of my NLP coaching from my coaching certification that I've
Yeah.
got. But if I can entertain, engage, differentiate, interest, and tap into the imaginations of 34-year-olds, I can do it with adults.
Yeah.
And that's what I find, like, my feedback from even my teaching days has always been that I am an engaging person. So
Yeah.
like, people tend to listen. But I love doing them, and I haven't done one in ages.
Yeah. Well, let's do one.
I know,
Let's do one. Let's do a motherloading one. Get all the
Yeah.
motherloaders. When you talk about kids, do you teach Lenny about manifestation, gratitude, mindfulness, and how does that manifest itself in a 8-year-old? Like, does it work for him?
Yeah. He he talks about spirit guides and
Does
all stuff
he?
like that. Yeah. Or he'll say, because there's an amazing book that I always show to people who come to my workshops. There's loads. Kirsty Gallagher for a start, Lunar Living, amazing.
Right.
And Journey of Souls by Michael Newton.
Okay.
That changed my life, that book. And that's how I like to talk to Lenny about. I had death anxiety for many years in my adult life. I just never wanted him to have that. So he'll always go, he's gone back to where we come from, and I'll go, oh right, yeah. So it's just part of how I've brought him up.
Yeah.
He knows, like, all my crystals. He knows if he comes in his room and he sees me sat there with music on, he's like, oh, mummy's just meditating.
Yeah.
Like, he just knows.
But I think that's great for a kid, because when we talk about managing toddlers and all the rest, like that level of like being able to regulate yourself, and
Yeah.
I am trying to teach Al about listening to her body, grounding herself, mindfulness. We do try and practice gratitude a lot at home, and it doesn't have to be in this like big dramatic way. It could just be in small little day-to-day
Of course,
things.
the child friendly.
Yeah, exactly. So the manifestation came, correct me if I'm wrong, a lot from your decision to become sober,
Yeah.
which you're sober 5 years now?
Yeah, 5 years is
Yeah.
December.
We've referenced it a bit throughout episodes, and I think it would be really, really powerful for anybody listening, male or female, no matter where they are in a journey of any form of addiction. And it may not be an addiction at all. Like, as I've referenced to you before about my relationship with alcohol with the kids, not that I was drinking loads, it just was a dependency.
Yeah.
So what was the moment that you thought to yourself that brought you to, I have a really unhealthy relationship with alcohol and this has to stop?
So I've thought it for years, because my relationship with alcohol was it was your atypical binge drinker.
Right.
I was your wasted girl on a night out, like, really bad.
Yeah.
I've never, I can count on one hand waking up and not being ashamed of something I'd done or said or how I behaved, or my blackouts were getting worse. So for years, I knew it wasn't serving me, for years. But I just liked being pissed, and I liked switching off, and I liked to be that Larry girl at the party, and like everyone knew when Misha arrived type thing. And it was almost like this persona and this character who I was really comfortable with. So I've thought it for years. I drove myself sick saying, that's the last time. That's the last time.
And I remember you telling me this story about, and I think everyone can relate to it, the impact it was having, not just on you and no doubt on your relationship, but like your friendships, because you were telling me that you were so hungover on a couple of occasions that like you didn't make friends' baby showers, or
let
there was
everyone down.
letting people down. And I remember when you were telling me that story, I just it was so raw and real and vulnerable, and you really were talking to me with such shame. You shouldn't have, because
Mm.
you were being really accountable for stuff. But I remember, like, I think I gave you a hug then, and we've all done stupid shit. But
I've done a lot of stupid
that
shit.
obviously impacted you, like how your friends, how you let down people, or what your friends thought, or how they felt in that moment.
Yeah.
Obviously, was so powerful for you.
It was, and it kind of, my decision to stop drinking came when I was having that battle in my mind about my marriage.
Right.
Um, and again, this is something that I often start my workshops with, and it was my turning point for change. So I was in the bath because I always had to be wet if I
Right.
was hungover. So I'd just lie in the bath like a zombie. And in my bathroom, it was an awful bathroom. I don't want to paint a nice scene. It was like all stripped back and everything, but there was a mirror above my bath. And I'd been throwing up for hours. I had makeup all over my face. I was out of shape massively because I'd never invested the time in myself to do anything fitness wise. And I stood up and I looked in the mirror at myself. And I don't think we often look at ourselves, like really look at our own eyes. Like, when do we ever do
No,
that?
never.
Just too quick doing your
Yeah.
makeup or whatever. And I looked at myself and I said to myself, is this it? Is this the best that you can be? Is this it until we die, Michelle? And I looked at my body, my face, the state I was in, like the guilt from the night before. And I was like, I refuse to be this version until my dying day. And I made myself a promise. I just said, enough now, enough. And it was that day that I thought, I will work my arse off to meet the most resilient woman that I can possibly be. And then that's when I went downstairs and I opened a book that I had, a little journal notebook thing that my friend had bought me years before. And I just started fucking writing, and I'm writing and writing and writing. And then I looked at myself as I was that day, and I created the woman who I wanted to meet before I died.
Wow.
And facing that inevitability of death for me was a big turning point. So I was like, this place, it's not forever. I'm going to die one day.
It's
And
made
I
me feel
want to,
really emotional, you talking like that, because when we were talking about this episode, and I had a turning point in my 20s, the way you describe it, that's it. It's that looking at yourself in the mirror and just being like, is this it? Is this it? And mine wasn't related to alcohol. Maybe it was partying and all the rest, but the point being, to anyone listening, is that doesn't have to be a moment you decide to be sober. That could be a moment that you decide to leave a relationship. That could be a moment that you want to leave a job. That could be a moment that you just want to go to the gym. Like, really looking at yourself and
yeah,
asking yourself the question on how happy you feel in your skin.
yeah, what do you want to change? Change it.
Yeah.
You are the only one getting in your own fucking way.
Well, that's it. Like, I love that saying, you can only control the controllable.
Yeah. There's
And
so much we can control
yeah,
that we just don't.
yeah, because, and there can be, we can stop ourselves because we can have a victim mentality, or, well, they said that and they did that and I'm like this because of X, Y, and Z.
Yeah.
And all of those things might be true. And there is
Valid.
empathy for whatever that scenario might look like. But you control the controllable.
Yeah.
So you take charge of what is within your power. And that might be getting sober. That might be getting healthier. That might be changing jobs. That might be leaving a toxic relationship, whatever it is, but you have to take control.
So the first step for me was I drew a little figurine, like a stick woman,
Right.
and I wrote I should have brought it actually. I'll attach a picture.
Yeah, do that. Do that. That would be really good. And maybe we could do an exercise of us all doing that on
I've
socials.
had some of my workshops do
Oh,
it.
cool.
So I wrote all around the outside, like my age, my name, my marital status, where I lived, what I did for a job, yada yada yada. And now majority of those things I wanted to change, but like you've just said, I was like, I can't fucking do it all overnight. None of this is going to change overnight, right? So I'm going to choose two things that I can control as of fucking right now, and that was going to the gym and stopping drinking alcohol. And those two things, deciding to drop one and take up the other, perfect for me. Because I thought, if I drink still, if I'm getting pissed every weekend and I'm just like numbing out every weekend, I'm not going to have the mental clarity and the mental strength that it's going to take to sell my house, to move out with my son, to divorce my husband. That's never going to happen because I'm always going to be either hungover, bit cloudy, thinking, oh, I'm sure you don't mean that. You just had a bad weekend.
Mm.
No, mental clarity came with being sober for me and
And
getting to the gym.
was that it?
Yeah.
Did you not have a drink after that?
No.
And there wasn't this build up where, you know, the way a lot of people, if they're thinking about quitting smoking or drinking, they'll read a book or they'll listen to a couple of podcasts or they'll go and get like hypnotized. There was no build up. You just woke up, you saw yourself that day, you thought, no fucking way. And then that was it. Never
Yeah.
had a drink.
Yeah.
And
So
that
determined.
mustn't have been easy though. I know you are such a determined person and I know that you are really spiritual and manifestation. Are you saying that from that moment you just never looked back and oh, it was amazing, or
No,
was it
fucking
hard?
hard, yeah.
What was hard? What were the hard bits?
The habit
The
of
habit, yeah.
drinking. And I mean, at a time where I really, really would love to have switched off, I couldn't. So I always put this visual in people's heads about putting, you know, like I always used to envisage Black Beauty, like this, the horse with her blinkers on. And I put those on and I used to put them on every day until I left the house and I was in my flat. Those blinkers did not leave my fucking face. I was
Wow.
so focused on getting to my flat and just getting there. It was like I imagined this. I was Black Beauty with these blinkers on and I needed to get over there. But before I got there, there's like a big battlefield in the middle, fighting war. And I was fucking armoured up.
So every time it would come a Saturday night, you'd had a bad week and you would normally like have a drink, would you have to keep talking to yourself and
I'd
be
go
like,
gym.
battlefield, you go to the gym?
Yeah.
Right, okay.
I'd just go to the gym.
And how did it, like, did you find was it hardest at the beginning and then you got used to it, or is it almost harder after time because maybe at the beginning you're like, go, 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 go. And then as time moves on and then all of a sudden your friends and family who know Drunk Michelle, and yes, they may have been annoyed at you sometimes, but they probably miss Drunk Michelle because I would probably miss Drunk Nikki, and I'm sure
Yeah.
people would. Was that hard? Like, was it almost harder later on in the journey?
The thing is, my drinking relationship was so shit that people were just like, thank
Thank
God.
Were they really?
Really good choice.
Wow.
I didn't get any shit from anyone or
Yeah.
like,
Well, no,
oh,
no
why,
one.
why are you not? Or I didn't really, I journaled again. Journaling was a massive part of it. So I would, on a night where I normally would have drank, I used to just think, oh, I can make myself look really nice because I'll come home looking the same. And I used to, when I'd get home, I would write an entry in my journal about how that night would have gone had I drank. Then I'd write an entry about how it went. So it was black and white. I'd read these
You
two
could
entries
actually
and I'd
see
be
it
like,
right in front of you.
obviously I'm going to choose this one. It was
That
like
is
so clear.
such a great idea because what would have happened in the night, I think a lot of us were all guilty of this. Even people who don't have unhealthy relationships with alcohol, we're quite guilty of being like, da 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 da, that didn't happen.
Put the music on, clean the kitchen.
Head in sand. Whereas,
Phone in drawer.
yeah, whereas actually, when you put it down in black and white and you have no choice
Yeah.
but to see it right there in front of
When
you.
you read it back, it's like, of course I'm going to choose that version of Michelle,
Gosh,
obviously.
yeah. I'm going to try and do that just for different things in my life, not necessarily. That's a really powerful
And
thing.
the gift of the next morning's great. So if I was going out with my girls, and I wouldn't avoid going out. When you get further into, say, your sobriety, I'd be like, all right, I'm done. And then I'd leave it whenever the fuck I wanted to. At the beginning, I'd make myself stay out till 3 because it was a bit like, I'm still me.
Yeah, I want to prove.
Yeah, I'm not boring. But then after time, you're just like, well, I don't want to stay out and have you breathing down my ear and spitting at me when you're talking and standing on my feet. No, Tar.
People fucking, like, obviously I was sober when I was pregnant,
Yeah.
and like I still went out a bit, but to your point, I laughed after a certain amount of time
Yeah.
because people repeat themselves.
No,
I
stop
heard
breathing
you
on me.
And normally people have had something to eat before, so
Yeah,
you've
no,
got
garlic breath.
garlic.
Yeah.
And no doubt it's me now, but the garlic and the spitting and the repeating.
Yeah. So making an early morning plan the next morning. So I know I used to be like a little gift to myself. I'd set my alarm for like 6:30, a time Michelle would never have seen if she'd have been drinking. So then when that goes off and you're like, and then you go for like a sunrise walk by yourself and you know that the old version of you will be head down the toilet.
Yeah.
Feels freaking great. What a way to start your week.
Yeah, it is. And a lot, like, I mean, we could probably dedicate an entire episode to sobriety. But what if you could say one thing where for some people it really does feel like more of an addiction rather than just like an unhealthy relationship,
Mhm.
and they know they have to do it for whatever reason, and they just can't, like they keep falling back because that's their escapism, that's their dopamine hit. What is the low? Like a lot of people say you have to hit, a alcoholic has to hit their version of an all-time low
Mhm.
to be able to actually become sober. Do you think that's true? Or do you think, no, you can get control of this before you hit that all time low, but it has to be a mindset, or maybe you have to do AA or you have to get help? Like, how do addicts go about? And addicts, by the way, doesn't mean waking up every day and having a drink. It just means you have no control over your relationship with drinking.
So that was one of the things that I found quite hard when I quit, because people were like, "You're not drinking every day, but does it warrant quitting?" You don't have to be in in utter despair over your drinking to want to opt for a better life.
Yeah.
So you can, and there's a range, like everything. There's a range of pain. There's a range of whatever. There's a range of addiction, and if it is unhealthy for you, if it is not bringing you joy, if it is not enhancing your life, you don't owe anyone an explanation as to the extent to that. You owe it to yourself to just want more and get more and know that you can have more. And I do think that starting point of just looking at your life, looking at who you are, how you are, what your life looks like, who do you live with, how do you spend your time? Like, could that be better? Would it be better without alcohol? And then take it from there. Because
Yeah.
there is of course AA for people who are alcohol dependent, but I think for a lot of us grey area drinkers, there isn't that support.
No, there isn't.
So I've often thought, well, I want to create something that's not, it's not AA, but it's not, oh, I can take or leave a drink. It's like, where's the support for British binge drinkers that
Well, you
feel
do,
like they
because,
just,
like, yeah, as you said, when people are like, but you're not an alcoholic. And even, if you do sober October or dry January, I think people are definitely getting better.
yeah,
But that thing of, go on, you'll have one.
yeah,
And go on, sure, one won't kill you.
yeah,
It can be really hard to navigate that conversation and be like, no, I just don't want to.
yeah.
And
I've had
having that support. Do you, as part of your Phoenix coaching, does sobriety come up much?
yeah,
Is it actually it is a big topic? People just don't necessarily talk about it publicly.
yeah. It's just, if you drink alcohol, it's not enhancing your life in the way that you think. Like, my life would not look the way it does if I was still binge drinking. And I wasn't an alcoholic, I wasn't drinking every day. I used to just love a party at the weekend.
Yeah. And also you were using alcohol, which in most cases I would imagine to put a shadow over and distract you from pain in your life. So
Yeah.
are you teaching women that it is coming from a place often of pain, not just because you want to have the crack at the weekend all the time? So turning that pain into power.
Yeah.
And then actually when you get sober, those things that maybe are affecting you maybe won't anymore, because you'll
Everything
have the
becomes
clarity,
clear.
as you said.
Everything becomes
Yeah.
clear when you do not touch alcohol.
Yeah.
Whether you're a big drinker or a little, or you just drink occasionally. Strip it away from your life, because I can guarantee you do not know yourself yet.
Yeah.
You do not know yourself yet. One of the hardest things about quitting alcohol is the fact that as a society, we drink when we're happy, we drink when we're sad, we drink when we're depressed, we drink when we're excited, we drink when it's a fucking birthday or an occasion. Everything is revolved subliminally. What? Subliminally, is that right?
Yeah.
As well.
You're
It's
asking the wrong
on-
person, by
I
the
know,
way.
Nickisms. It's on every fucking program. It's on every advert, and it's just so like celebrated
Yeah.
that even in your subconscious you think, "Oh, I'm sad. I'll have a drink. Oh, I'm excited. I'll have a drink." Give yourself the chance to experience these things without a drink and just see how your life
Yeah.
changes.
Do you miss drinking at all anymore?
I mean, I used to drink. I was a cider and beer drinker,
Right.
so like sometimes we sat with a pint and a fag, and I'd be like, I have never been as happy. This is great. And honestly, I loved it, but it served its purpose.
Yeah,
It
yeah.
served its time,
Yeah.
and I can box it
Yeah.
away. Sometimes I say, fucking cheeky drink when I'm on my
Yeah.
50th birthday
Yeah.
or whatever. And then I think, no, I've learned that my life is so, so beautiful without an enhancement from alcohol. I've learned to love the beauty of life
Yeah.
as is.
And I remember you telling me, and I only just thought about it, but I thought it was such a good analogy that you were like, I have thought about drinking the odd time, like say at your 50th, whatever. And then you always say to yourself, and I might get this wrong, so correct me, but you're like, if I don't drink, there's 100% chance that I will wake up the next day and I will feel great.
Yeah, the 100%
The
guarantee.
100% guarantee. And if I do drink, maybe I will just have one and I'll feel great. But there's a good chance that one will turn to 10.
Yeah.
And then there is no guarantee
Yes.
where it's going to go.
Correct.
So you always anchor back to that 100% guarantee.
Yeah, 100% guarantee. It never fails. I could have one, but I could have 10. I can easily be swayed. If
Yeah.
I've had one and someone comes in that I've not seen for ages, I'll just have one with me. That's two. And it can just take on a wild life of its own. But,
so what's your favorite, like who is Michelle? What's your favorite version? What makes you happy? Where are you at now?
I feel most happy when I'm teaching other women.
Right.
So I feel happy when I'm at the front of a room and it's filled with women and I'm teaching them about meeting the most powerful version of them, because I know I've done it and I can teach anyone how to do it. And that is when I feel most alive, is when people are sat listening to me and they're nodding and they're smiling and they're taking something from what I'm saying. To inspire women is when I feel like Michelle.
Yeah. And I think that's what
arrived.
drew me to you, because I wasn't even training with you at the time, at the time when I first came across you, but you had this energy. You just had this energy. And then I came to you and I was like, can I train with you? And then it all just snowballed because you had the energy, and then who you are. You're very thoughtful in everything that you do, like how the advice that you give, how you see life, non-judgmental. And I think this is your calling, without a doubt. This is your
Thanks,
calling.
Nikki. Thank you so much.
No, well, you're welcome. Well, please come again. Please come again. And I think it's really important that if we want to build this community of motherloaders, and we're not saying we're at the helm of it, we're all equally part of it together, but we want people to trust us, right? And we want people to get to know us. And I hope today, I know it wasn't our usual format of chit-chatting, it was more interview style, but I want people to know you the way I know you, because I love you and I think you're amazing. And I hope people do. And I think from listening to you, even though I know a lot of what you've talked about, it never gets old. And there's like different versions of the way you say it, that I often sit there feeling really motivated and I'll walk away inspired and going, right, I'm going to take some of that mindset.
Yeah,
so I
good.
think, I mean, what would you hope that people take out of it today?
Like you've just said there, when people respond back to something I've said, or if I've worked with them on a one-to-one, or if they've come to one of my workshops, inspired is often a word that people will use. And that is what I feel like, oh, well, I've done my job type thing.
Yeah.
So anyone listening that even feels inspired to change one thing, maybe start a couch to 5K, you might think, that's not you. Even if it makes you look at your life and want to change something small, which can then snowball and become more, then that's everything to me. And I hope that I've got listeners now that are feeling inspired to make even the smallest of changes.
Yay.
And you can please reach out and let me know, because it literally lights me up.
Yeah.
So.
And I think we should definitely look at some point soon of doing a manifestation event, or just a female empowerment event of
We can
some
do it online,
kind.
can't
Yeah,
we?
we can. Yeah. Or I'd love to in person too, and meet some of the women.
too.
Okay. Well, thank you, my love. I love you.
Thank you. I love you too.